Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm talking about a pen I've not reviewed, but that I have given a bit of a rough go, shall we say. And that pen is this. This is the Pilot Prera. So a few years ago, probably 6 years ago now, I got a Prera. I already had a few Pilot Metropolitans and I really enjoyed more so back then the Pilot Metropolitan fountain pen. And I got the Prera because it has the same nib as the Metropolitan. And it just didn't do it for me. You know, it's a smaller pen. It posts and all that okay, and it just for some reason the fact that it's quite light and it's a bit smaller and all of those kinds of things, it just didn't work for me. But I've been using one a bit recently, this one here, which a friend loaned me, knowing how much I loved Pilot and that the Prera had never really done it for me. They said, give it another go. So here I am. I'm giving it another go. And I have to say, it's actually a lot better pen than I gave it any credit for whatsoever. The fact that it's got that same nib, and I have it here with a fine nib, it's available in fine and medium primarily. And there's a range of different finishes you can get. This is just the clear with the black version. It has some really lovely features. As I said, it posts well. It's got one of the nicest capping mechanisms. It's kind of famous for that capping mechanism. It's got a few things I would change, i.e., you know, being able to see the white inner cap there so clearly and all that kind of thing. I'd try and readjust the balance of the pen slightly because it is a small pen that needs to be posted. And there's more weight in the cap than there is in the rest of the body of the pen. So I might, you know, try and add a little bit of weight down into the nib end of the pen just to give it a slightly more balanced feel in the hand. I'll quickly talk about the parts and features and those kinds of things and then do a little writing sample. It's got a plain metal top and that metal continues around to this clip, which is functional, a little bit stiff, but functional. The cap swells out and it's got the center band and label kind of printed on it. It says Pilot Japan on the back there and Prera on the front, surrounded by little dots. There's a metal ring, which is on the cap there. The body tapers down to another metal ring and then a plastic end cap there, and the end cap in this is the smoke, which is the same as the ring between those two metal rings at the top there. So in my taste, even if that inner cap liner there was the smoke color, it would be a better looking pen. The section is small and kind of tapers a little bit with another ring, and then the nib there, got a bit of nib creep happening at the moment with this one. The nib says Pilot Super Quality Japan, and then F for fine, and it's got a plastic feed. It takes a number of the Pilot converters. I have it here with a cartridge. But for a smaller pen, it's actually pretty decent. The Prera retails in Australia for between $50 and $60, depending on where you go. In the US, I've seen it around the $40 to $42 mark, which is about right in the conversion. It is slightly more expensive there than the Pilot Metropolitan. So it's about $10, $15 more expensive than the Metropolitan in Australia. And I think the Metropolitan, being a metal pen with the same nib, slightly bigger pen, is a little bit more value for money. Individuals are going to enjoy one more than the other. Personally, I prefer the Metropolitan, but I can see so much value and so much good in this Prera. The dimensions of the Prera, it's 120 millimeters when it's capped, 108 when it is uncapped. So for some people, that is simply just going to be too small to use uncapped. Posted, it's 134, and for me, that comes in at an okay length, and it does post relatively deeply, so that sits on the webbing of your hand, but there is a little bit of weight back there, as I said. The pen weighs a total of 14 grams, 6 in the body and 8 in the cap, so it is slightly back heavy there. The section is about 10.5 millimeters in the middle, and the widest point of the pen is about 12. So it's not a big pen. It's not quite a pocket pen, but it is definitely a small pen. Just to put that into context, here it is alongside the Lamy Safari and the Pilot Metropolitan capped. Here they are uncapped. You can see it is definitely a smaller pen. And then posted, you see it is still definitely the shortest of those three. This is a small pen. It is small in the hand, it is light, but that is definitely going to be to a lot of people's taste. Let's do a writing sample here with the Pilot Prera. As I said, this is the fine and is a steel nib. The ink in this is Pilot Black. You can see it writes well. There is feedback on the nib. The Pilot fine on these Metropolitans and everything is quite fine, but it's definitely not dry. As I said, it's smooth, there's just a bit of feedback on it. Keeps up with the fast writing. Reverse writing, it's a bit scratchy. In fact, it's very scratchy, but does write. Flex, no. Like, you can squeeze a tiny bit of variation out of it. There is a minuscule amount of variation there, but not the nib for that really. You can easily push these nibs out of shape. My issues with the Prera back in the day were not about the writing of the pen. As I said, I love Pilot. I've always enjoyed how the Pilot Metropolitan has written, and I enjoyed how my Prera wrote. It just wasn't for me. And is this a pen I would go and buy or, you know, sort of go out of my way to use? Realistically, probably not. But for a lot of people, this is going to be a really great option. If it fits your hand, if it fits the weight you're after, the width you're after, it's going to write well and it's reliable. It's Pilot. Pilot's amazing. There's a reason it's probably realistically, my favorite pen brand. So I do think I gave the Prera a bit of a rough go back in the day. It writes well, it's reliable, it has a nice nib, there's a lot of color options and things available, particularly if you can get some of the ones from Japan. The only pen I don't think from Pilot that stands up sort of in this sort of realm is the Explorer. So the Prera is definitely a great option, so check it out. If you're not familiar, it might be worth looking up if these are the kinds of dimensions and the kind of pen that you're generally into. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, all that kind of stuff. If you've got anything you'd like me to look at, or if you would like to support the channel, I would really love to hear from you. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.